Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Welcome back to another Mind on Mike podcast. I'm your host, Shubs, here with a very special guest, a guest from all the way on the other side of the world. She can tell us all about herself, but she's an interesting human being, I'd say, especially for people out here. Karisa Maxwell, what's good, sister? How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, can't complain. Another day, eh? Another day. Living the dream. We're trying to. So, for anybody that doesn't know who you are, just can you give us a little background story on yourself?
Sure. I am currently the digital reporter / content creator for the Professional Fighters League. I started at the beginning of 2024, and I have a really fun job that I actually really do enjoy, where I get to tell the story of all these different fighters and follow them in their journey throughout the season for a chance at a title, a championship, and $1 million. So I get to watch and follow a sport I love, surrounded by athletes who are very driven, tell stories, create cool content, and I'm very fortunate to have a lot of fun while I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did you get into that role before we get into all the other things you do and have done in the past?
That's kind of like the $1 million question in itself. I
Me too.
never thought I would be working in combat sports, let alone MMA. It just so happens to be that every job that I've had, I've been kind of pushed towards covering, whether it be boxing or MMA or kickboxing. And actually, my first job out of college, I was working for this like third-party digital marketing company, and my first client was World Series of Fighting, where I had to go to the fights and interview the fighters and create digital content. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, and that was 10 years ago now. Actually, it was 2014. And then 10 years later, WSOF was bought out and rebranded to PFL, and I'm back. They were really looking for
She's an
this.
OG. She's the OG of the company.
I really am. And it's so funny because it's still like, it definitely still has, kind of startup vibes because they are changing and growing. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of new hires, but the president of Fighter Ops, Ray Sefo, world champion kickboxer, they're
Kiwi himself.
introducing everybody. Yes, I
Yeah,
know. I know he's a big deal
yeah,
there, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
run into him at
I come
weigh
from
and
the
he's
same
like,
country too. I'm
yeah,
from New Zealand as well. Originally, I live in Australia, but I come from New Zealand. Same like Ray.
oh
Obviously,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, he's a
you
big
know
deal
all
down
about
down this
Ray.
side. Well,
He's
yeah, yeah,
amazing.
definitely. As a kid growing up, definitely, big inspiration for a lot of kids coming out of where we came from, in New Zealand, especially in a lot of the, um, lower socioeconomic places for sure. Race for Mark Hunt, big guys in the game for sure. For our people out here, David Tua. I don't know if you know David Tua, the boxer.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, Ray, it's funny because, like I said, Ray and I have known each other for 10 years now, and
Crazy.
I already knew him when I joined the company. So, yeah, they brought me back. So it really does come full circle.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. How did you? So that was your first job out of college. Let's go back before college. What was a life like for a young? Where were you born? All that good stuff. Carissa
So
Maxwell.
I'm from New York.
McKee, is that right? You married now? Is
I
that
am
changed?
I am
What?
married.
I
I got
better rebrand here. I better rebrand. What's going on? Or are we just? Do we just stay with that for the content? What's the go?
Yeah, so the short answer for that is because I've been doing this now for 10 years, I've I've created a lot of content and it's all been under Maxwell. So as much as my husband would love for me to go just by McKee, the reality is that I've built my brand on Maxwell. So
Yeah.
professionally, I'm saying Maxwell, but in my personal
Yeah.
life, I'm McKee, and legally I'm Maxwell McKee. So it's really just whatever you feel like calling me. I will
Oh, okay.
answer to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was born in New York. And I went to Penn State in Pennsylvania, where I studied sports broadcast journalism and political science. I always wanted to get into sports. I just really wasn't sure what capacity. And the time that I was in school, not to age myself, but in the 2010 era, that's really when social media kind of took off and Twitter became a really big thing. Instagram was starting to be on more than just iPhones. And it really kind of redefined how journalism and how reporting and communications was being taught in schools and how it's being utilized. So I jumped right on the social media bandwagon and got to cover a lot of really big life-changing, life-defining events via social media because the traditional journalists hadn't really figured it out yet, how to use it to resonate with a younger audience. So with that, it gave me a lot of opportunities. it's funny because they were like entry level positions at different
Yeah.
jobs, but I would come in and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you know how to tweet." Because the people in the company didn't know. So I've done a lot of crazy weird things looking back.
Yeah.
My first internship was with the Miami Dolphins when the NFL teams here,
Wow.
doing digital reporting, and then I worked for a sports legal company that was basically working on contracts for endorsements and player representation, and then found my way to that marketing company where I not only worked with WSOF, but I had the opportunity to work one-on-one with a lot of different athletes, and many of them were boxers or MMA fighters. So, Justin Gaethje, before he was, a BMF contender, he was
Yeah.
fighting for WSOF, and David Branch before he won a title with WSOF and went on to UFC. So I already kind of had a pretty big stakehold in combat sports
Yeah.
unintentionally, just because they were thrown my way. And then when I left that company and went to Vice, I was working for Vice Sports as a social editor and on-camera host. And at the time, they had a partnership with UFC, so they had this vertical called Fightland, and they're like, "Oh, Karisa, you've worked in combat sports. You could run Fightland too." So it just became one of those things that every company I worked for after that, if there was an opportunity to cover combat sports, I got thrown into it. And then after I left Vice, I went to Sporting News, where I was a deputy editor and then eventually multimedia producer for 6 years. It was a great time in my life. And then I got recruited to come join the PFL. So we joke around that I'm the unbattered face of the PFL.
Yeah, I see what's even in your bio, like, pretty much. But, like, you spoke on always falling into the roles in sports media, but with combat sports. How did you grow up like watching boxing and like or anything? Like, were you into fighting at all when you were a kid?
No, not at all. Like I took a few karate classes.
Okay.
That's really it.
Oh, that counts.
It counts. My high school was really, really good, still very, very good at wrestling. So, it was hard not to be a wrestling fan, when we were in school. And, of course, my dad definitely watched the OGs, back in the day. He watched Tyson fight, he watched Holyfield
Yeah.
fight. So those Oscar De La Hoya, so those names were definitely known to me. And then as I got older, I enjoyed, I bought all the Canelo pay-per-views and I definitely watched all the big fights. But I really wasn't a fan. But what I did, as I got older and I learned more about it, I always loved the business side of especially boxing, like the business and the politics that go into it, like, negotiating the purses and the broadcast rights and working with the different promotions. And there was so much to it other than just two guys or two women, because now we've got like the most incredible women boxers and MMA fighters, but they're not just punching themselves in the face, right? Like there's so much more that goes into it. So I really just kind of obsessed over all of the intricacies and logistics to putting on a fight and especially making like these big title fights happen. And so I just fell in love with boxing. And then, of course, MMA, it's the fastest growing sport in the world behind like pickleball. So it's, it's really like taking off. And I already knew a lot of MMA fighters, so it was really easy to transition into that. But the irony, I guess, is that now with MMA, PFL and Bellator are the most complicated it gets because the promotions don't fight each other. So there's, you're not really negotiating purse sizes or TV rights or anything anymore, at least, in my space. It's a lot simpler. So I'm able to really kind of focus on the nuances of the fighters and their techniques and the different playoff scenarios. And it's really kind of changed my whole perspective in covering combat sports, but I do thoroughly enjoy it.
Can you speak on how the whole setup is? Because a lot of people that still don't understand, I didn't think how the PFL works exactly because it's different, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons they hired me too, is to help explain that to people.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, well, let's go.
yeah, so I've done a few videos on this.
Mm.
So the PFL it has a season format. It's a league. It's the only season format in combat sports, really, in that you start every single season, regardless if you've won a championship in previous seasons, you start with 0 points. And we have different weight classes to where there's 2 rounds of regular season fights. If you earn enough points, you then advance to the playoffs. And then the winners of the playoffs then advance to the championship, where they fight for a world title and $1 million. So the way the point system works is a win is 3 points, a loss is 0 points. But depending on when you finish, you can accumulate bonus points. So a first round finish is an additional 3 points. Second round is 2 points. First or third round is 1 point. So the most points a fighter can earn in a season is 12 points. And, you know, Ray Sefo, who's our wonderful matchmaker, he definitely makes it interesting when he's coming up with these different matchups for a round to not only put the different talents against each other and to put on a good fight, because at the end of the day, this is a promotion. You know, we do need to sell the fights and get people interested in good matchups, but really complicating those point accrual opportunities for fighters to advance and move on. So there still are a lot of intricacies. There's still a little bit of politics and a lot of business, but it's definitely more merit-based, and it gives our fighters an opportunity to really use their skill set to promote themselves and to win their fights and advance, and not rely on trash talk and, you know, being bombastic and using a personality, being a heel. We don't have a lot of that. So it's definitely a very, very unique league promotion to other MMA leagues.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Even so, when you win the title, that's you don't keep that title, right? Is that correct?
You do. You keep it, but it's not like you're necessarily defending it in the same
Yeah.
way,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean.
for example, in 2023 for our light heavyweight division, Impa Kasanganai won. He had the most incredible, inspiring story of, you know, going from being homeless to competing in our Challenger series, which was a series we used to have for, you know, amateur fighters to kind of come up and prove themselves to win a contract for the PFL. He won the Challenger series, competed in the regular season, and won. So he went from being homeless to being a millionaire within 1 year. Not even just one season. So it's really incredible. So he is technically our defending champion, who's now competing for the light heavyweight division. His next fight will be June 21st, I believe, in Salt Lake City. He won his first fight of the season in Las Vegas with a first round knockout. So he already has 6 points. So he's still competing to win again, but it's not like he has to give his belt.
So he doesn't have to give he keeps the belt he got, but in order for him to retain the belt, he has to go all the way back to the championship fight again, right?
Yeah, so it's like,
that's
yeah,
pretty cool. I think it's cool.
It's one of those complicated things. Like, the narrative is
Defending champ though.
Yeah, he's the defending champ, but he doesn't lose his belt. He gets to keep it. It will always say, you know, 2023 PFL light heavyweight champ, but now he's competing for the 2024 championship. But the new thing that we started this year that is really cool and extremely unique to the sport, but not necessarily to boxing in a sense, is, you know, because since PFL doesn't fight UFC or, you know, any of these other promotions.
It would be cool though.
It would be really cool. And I know there's a lot of fights we really want to see. We don't have a unified championship. You know, there's no undisputed, there's no unified. And that's always that, you know, it gives a lot of fun scenarios. Like, what if John Jones and Francis Ngannou fought? And, you know, you got a lot of.
Because he's still with he's with the PFL, isn't he?
Francis Ngannou is, yeah. And John Jones is the UFC, and Dana White will never allow it. But the one thing that PFL has done since acquiring Bellator last November is we had our inaugural champs versus champs event in Saudi Arabia in February, where the PFL champions of their weight division fought the Bellator world champions of their division. And even though it's not, again, no one lost their belt. They won a new belt. They won a super fight belt, but it's a way to kind of pin the promotions against each other to, you know, find out like who the true light heavyweight.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want to see, right?
Exactly.
I'm talking as a couch potato fan here. Like that's what we want to see is, you know, the best.
You want to see the best fight the best.
We'll see who is the best. We'll
Yes.
find out, you know. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that is cool. But I think the uniqueness of the whole competition, the league, and it seems quite open-minded as well. A lot of the way you guys move and pivot, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super unique. It's been a lot of fun, and it's for someone who's been working in the space for so long, it's been interesting kind of having to like relearn a sport almost and then relearn the way it works. But I've become a fan. They're not just paying me
Yeah.
to say that. I am a fan now.
No, I feel like you are, because like authenticity will shine through, and I think just listening to what you're saying and how passionate you are about it, you don't just sound robotic or like just being a company girl. You know what I mean? You sound like you are a fan of these fighters, and even that story you just shared on, what was his name again? The fighter?
Impa Kasanganai.
Yeah, this. I just don't know how to say it.
Yeah, no,
I don't want to butcher the bro's name.
trust me, that is like the hardest part of my job. We have a lot of fighters from all around the world, and I, in general, am just terrible at names. So when I've got this roster and it's like 6 Russian dudes, 3 which are Dagestani, we got a few from. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. All your names.
Check and throw a few. If you throw a few of Ray's cousins in there too,
Yeah.
a few Polynesians in there, those names get a bit hard too. For 100%. So yeah, I can feel your pain. Definitely. Even in because I watch a lot of we watch some sports and like live stream some on here, and yeah, I because I'm, I guess, an indigenous Maori to New Zealand, we're Polynesians as well. It annoys me when Australians get our names wrong, or even New Zealanders get our names incorrect, or don't even try. So yeah, I wouldn't want to butcher anybody else's name.
It's funny you say that, because I remember when I worked at Vice, I did a explainer video on the haka. And
you're the haka. There you go.
Big haka fan. I think like the hardest I've ever fangirled. I know. And I think the hardest I ever fangirled is when I saw the New Zealand All Blacks walking through Grand Central because they had a game in New York or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, I know who you are. And I freaked out. But I had to do like an explainer video.
You were there and seen the All Blacks walking through Grand Central. That's pretty cool.
I did. And nobody knew like who they were because it's Grand Central. It's so busy. But because I had like just done this video, I was like, oh my God. Hi. This is years ago. I'm like, please do the haka. But I remember having to like say the names of not only the people who, helped really bring it to life and bring it to the front of pop culture, but then also just talking about the culture in general. I have never been more terrified because that's a hard language. If you're not like natural tongue, it's difficult, and I did not want to butcher it. So I apologize on behalf of people who say Polynesian words wrong.
No, but the key is that you want to. It's for me, it's the people that live amongst us all the time, every day, and they don't even want to try. That's the thing that gets me, is like you don't even want to try to say the name properly. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure you probably wanted to. You know what I mean? But I know it doesn't sound like Karisa Maxwell. So you know.
You'd be surprised. My name gets butchered all the time, and it's
not
really
even hard. Give me some.
Not even hard. The worst is when I go to the UK. I don't know what it is about like the different dialects and accents, but Karissa is such a hard word for them to say. It's like Karisa, Karisa, Karsa. It's just strange. But that's like, I'll give it a pass because again, it's not like, I mean, they're speaking English, but it's an accent thing. Here in the United States, I get called Clarissa all the time.
They're just not even reading the name. They're just not reading. They're not even reading your name.
It's just like Clarissa.
Clarissa.
Yeah. Wow. I've been called worse, right? I can't complain too much.
Yeah, with you. So, but you're obviously passionate about this sport. But what sports did you watch? Did you not watch any sports at all growing up? Or
I was a diehard sports fan.
You sound like one.
Yeah, no, I was obsessed with American football growing up.
Oh, true.
Like to the point where I was supposed to go to college to be a musical theater major. And when I heard that the theater kids didn't go to the football games on Saturday because they had rehearsal, I was like, yep, nope, that major is not for me. I can't do that. I got to go to a football game. I American football, like NFL, college football. I still love college football.
Penn State.
Penn State, baby. I mean, we are. I am like, I'm part of the We Are cult for sure. And I always just loved watching football in any shape or form, but I watched everything. I just always loved sport. I played lacrosse. I
Lacrosse.
just
That's fun.
wasn't good at sports. Like I'm just like I'm 5'9". I have an athletic build, so I like it's not like I ever got picked last, on the team for gym, but it's not like I was gonna get a scholarship anywhere or be like recruited to play anything. So I just always really appreciated athleticism in general. But like I said, it's not like in high school or growing up, like boxing, MMA was readily available to watch. There was usually behind a pay-per-view wall, or it was only 4 times a year you're going to get a big fight. So it is a really hard sport unless you're introduced to it by a hardcore fan to grow up like loving and appreciating. So that's how I do know I am a true fan, because like I chose to watch it and to learn about it and now and work in it. But yeah, no, I was a football girl. I always thought I was going to work for the NFL. That was the dream.
Well, you worked for an NFL team at least for a little bit. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool. Dolphins.
I did. They
Did
were
you
my
support
favorite
them or
team
no?
too.
Oh, they were. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, they
What?
were my
Why?
favorite team. Because my
Who
dad grew up in
was?
Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Was that Dan Marino days back in his days, eh?
yeah, I'm a 96,
Yeah.
so definitely Dan Marino. I loved OJ McDuffie because he went to Penn State. And Don Shula is a legend, Bob Greasy. So I mean, my dad like ingrained Dolphins football into my mind. I could tell you all about the 1972 undefeated team. Like it was a thing. But I worked for them. They, recruited me based on my work in college to come be an intern. And it was amazing. But it's so funny being like a diehard fan of a team and athletes. And then when you have to be around them all the time, you're like, well, I feel weird to be a fan.
Oh,
Like,
true.
yeah, or do you like
Yeah.
meet the person whose name you've been screaming at the TV, being like, catch the damn ball? You're like, sorry.
Yeah, well, they say you should never meet your heroes sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is crazy. I noticed that too because even like we watch a lot of obviously rugby and being down here and big rugby fans, but watching a lot of the sports live now, I'm like, I probably can't say that stuff anymore. Like, it's not bad. It's just like, I want to interview these people, so I probably shouldn't be like you said, don't drop the damn ball, this and that. So,
Yeah, I mean, that is really hard. Like you only have to scroll back, a few years in my Twitter feed to see that I've always been very opinionated. I've never been shy about
Mm.
saying things, but that's also because I guess I was naive that I would never have the opportunity to actually talk to these people. And now, I'm interviewing athletes all the time and I'm like, oh, I said some not so nice things about you when I was younger and I'm sorry, but you're decent. Like
Yeah, if I was that athlete, I would just understand that, bro. I'm not the same person I was last year, so
yeah.
I'm not gonna hold that against you. I'll hold it anyway.
But honestly, that is like probably one of the reasons why I do love my job so much, because in the sport in general, and I don't necessarily blame fighters for doing this, like they have to sell themselves, right? So they take on these really big personalities and sometimes say things that I know I don't always agree with. In fact, like some things I get pretty like grossed out by that some like the bigger name fighters will say,
Yeah,
but it's part of their shtick, right? That's who
that
they
heel
are.
you spoke of, earlier.
Exactly. But we don't have that in the PFL. Maybe a little
Mm.
bit in Bellator because they're still trying to get fights made. But even still, I can genuinely say every single fighter for the PFL or Bellator that I've had the opportunity to meet and work with, and at this point, especially PFL, it's been almost all of them. Everyone is so freaking nice. Like they are just such great men and women. I truly enjoy being around them. I've learned so much from them. Like Impa Kasanganai, who I was talking about earlier, he's from Charlotte. So he came to Charlotte for his dad's birthday, and me and my husband are at a bar and he texts me. He's like, "Hey, I'm in town. Where are you?" And he like came out and had a beer with us and just very like low key, not so into themselves. Like they're just such great guys and women, and they're so talented, and they're like actually a joy to cover because you want them to be more well known. You know, like they deserve it based on their talent and who they are. And I feel like I'm very, very fortunate for that, because I know that there's always going to be the athletes out there that are like, oh God, I got to interview this guy again. But I luckily do not have that.
Yeah. You work for the Zone as well for a little bit, did you?
I
Is that
did.
right?
Yeah. So DAZN owned Sporting News.
Yeah.
And when they signed Canelo and Triple G and Anthony Joshua and all those big names, I kind of got like taken from Sporting News to DAZN, where I worked on their social team. And so I mean, that's honestly where I fell in love with combat sports, though, because I had the opportunity to cover some of like the best fights of, you know, my lifetime. You know, I was front row when Andy Ruiz knocked out Anthony Joshua.
Really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
was ringside for the trilogy fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. So saw Canelo trilogy fight, you know. So there was a lot of really, really cool moments that I'm like, wow, I'm going to tell my kids about this someday.
Yeah, 100%. Legendary fights. Hey, shout out to AJ too. He's turned it around, hasn't he? You know, from there.
I'm so happy for him. He talk about another like great guy for someone who is as successful as he is, who, you know, former world champion boxer, who's like, all right, he's very attractive. He's very just like larger than life human.
Husbands watching. Not a carry on.
Everybody agrees. And like, I don't even say that in like, oh my God, he's hot way. Like he's,
no, I know. I get what you mean.
Whole package. And he's so nice too.
Is he like genuinely that way? He literally
genuinely a great guy. I mean, I've interviewed him several times now, and afterwards he like, even if it's like he'll say I have 10 minutes, or his manager, he'll sit for an hour, and then afterwards we'll be like, oh, so how are you? How's your family? What have you been up to? Like he genuinely does take an interest in the people that, you know, take care of him in a sense of like, you know, giving him the respect to cover him in a way that is, you know, giving him due diligence for his talent and for his resume. But he really is just a really nice guy. And, you know, he's like, a lot of guys go out and party and stuff, and he's sitting playing chess, and, you know, he's an interesting dude. But yeah, I'm so happy for him. I mean, granted, it was against a PFL fighter technically that he beat his last fight. So
yeah. But just happy for him as a person, right? Like, you know, obviously always rooting for Francis as well, and for both men. Have you had much to do with Francis at all?
I got to meet Francis in Saudi Arabia right before he fought Anthony Joshua. He was coming to the Champs vs. Champs event that we had. So I actually, with my camera crew, I went to his apartment that he has in Saudi Arabia to like do some interviews with him. And we were actually in his living room when he went on to ESPN to announce that he was going to be fighting the winner of the Ryan Bader versus Hayden Fajeda fight. So it was funny because I'm like watching ESPN on my phone, but I'm also like sitting across the table from him while he's on ESPN. And I was like Inception.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it was. But the thing is like that was my first time meeting him, and it was right before, you know, at that time, I guess, like the second biggest fight of his boxing career. So he was obviously very focused. I really definitely didn't get to see like his true personality, because he was, I mean, that guy is razor focused. Like for someone who is new to the sport of boxing in a sense, like he's a true pro. And then when he was
that story he has too, right? He's got a crazy story.
I know, especially now, like it breaks my heart knowing what he's going through right now, his with his son. So where the PFL family is like obviously heartbroken and thinking of him. But yeah, I mean, his story it's incredible too. And that's like kind of, you know, it kind of epitomizes what a lot of the fighters of the PFL and obviously UFC and Bellator as well, you know, that rise to the top. But when I did talk to Francis again at the actual fight, he was like really nice. He's having fun. John Jones was there, so they were chumming it up a little bit, and I was kind of standing next to them listening to their conversation. Again, it was one of those surreal moments, like, oh my God.
Yeah, like wild. If one day this can happen, it would be interesting. Yeah, 100%. Oh, what a what a joy to be you, huh? In a lot of these situations.
Yes and no. Like, it's just funny though, because I'm surrounded by people who they fight people for a living. Like, they're so, as wonderful as they are, they're freaking scary and so talented. And I'm like, I'm like, I cannot defend myself if something
Well,
goes down.
it shows how strong you are, even just internally, just to be able to stand there and be confident and do your thing. You know what I mean? You're made for the role.
Well, thank you. I try. I'm definitely more comfortable talking on camera than I would be in the cage. So
So no. What about like a charity one day or no?
I don't know. I mean, I would have to, I don't know. Like, okay, one of the things that like really fascinates me about fighters
Mhm.
is like, when was the first time you got punched in the face? And at what point you were like, I like this.
I
Let's
like
do it
this.
again. Like, that was cool. You know, as someone who has not been punched in the face, I
Oh,
feel
you've
like
never ever in your life, like, never had a fight or anything, like, growing up? No?
I've had a fight. I've been in little brawls here
Oh,
and there, but I've avoided it.
okay.
I've punched people in the face.
Ooh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
But I'm also, like I said, I'm a big girl. I got big reach. So I can outreach many of my
Who
former
who 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 are we calling out right now, Carissa? Are we, like, going, like, Megan O'Leary? No, I'm joking.
Oh my God,
I'm
no.
joking.
She's
I'm
like,
joking, I'm joking.
I love her. No, but it is actually like really funny.
Yeah,
You
she's
say
cool.
that, not Megan O'Leary. She's phenomenal. I am
Yeah,
like,
she's cool, eh?
yeah, and she's a dream. She's
Oh, you want
doing
Laura Senko instead?
no, I don't want Laura Singleton. I don't want
I'm joking, I'm joking.
don't want any of them. And
No,
it's
no.
funny because I was with Clarissa Shields. Now I am a
Oh, that's
huge
cool.
Clarissa Shields fan, like total fangirl of Clarissa Shields. So when I got the job at PFL, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get to meet Clarissa Shields. I'm so excited. So I met her in Miami. We had a promo shoot for the champs event, and I was hanging out backstage with her and just trying to do small talk. I'm like, I don't even know what to talk to Clarissa Shields about without like her thinking like, wow, this girl's weird. And she was in the process of like starting her weight cut. And we were just talking about, I mean, weight cutting in general is so crazy. Like how
Yeah.
much weight these men and women can take off their body in such a short amount of time and then gain it all back plus some in less than 24 hours. It's medical scientific mystery. But I was basically like making small talk with her, just saying like, oh, it's so crazy. Like that when you cut your weight, like we would be in the same weight class technically. And the thought of fighting you scares me. And she, without hesitation, was like, oh, you fight? I was like, no,
No.
I do not fight.
Someone rewind the tape. She said, "Yeah, I punch people in the face." No.
Yeah, I was like, even if I did, you are the last person I'm trying to pick a fight with. Absolutely not.
No. That was, but then straight away the instinct thing, like, oh, you fight.
Yeah, like, you challenging me? Are we in the same weight class? I'm like, no, we are not. No,
No.
take it
Yeah,
back.
yeah. I get all you were just saying is that, like, it's crazy that you and I would be in the same weight class right now and we could fight, but
Yeah,
we're
like,
not gonna.
well, because not only that, like, I mean, even like, look at Kayla Harrison when she weighed in for her last fight at UFC 300. She's so ripped, like so ripped,
Bah.
and she dropped
Yeah,
down to what was it, 135, I think it was for that. So
something
her
like that.
walk around weight is maybe a little heavier than I am. I'm taller than she is, but like her walk around means a little bit heavier, but she's ripped.
But
So I'm sitting
you
there
done
watching.
some wrestling too, right? You said, oh, I come from Penn State. They love wrestling.
Oh, hey, Kale knows wrestling. Kale Sanderson, he knows it all. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about you. You
Well, that's
Penn
what I'm
State
saying.
baby wrestling.
You would think I've watched and I've learned a thing or two, but no. I mean, I'm looking at Kayla Harrison weigh in, and I'm like, the thought of like us being like the same size, but you're just solid muscle and you just kick my ass. Like it is, my life flashes before my eyes. No,
Not
I
even just
have
solid
taken a few
muscle, but
BJJ
trained, right?
classes.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was
Okay.
that?
I said not even just solid muscle, but just a machine as well, a trained assassin. You know what I mean? You
That's
can
what I'm
be
saying.
solid muscle and not know what the fuck to do. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah. But that, like, the muscle in itself
yeah.
scares me. And then you take the talent and put up, no, no, thank you. I'm good. I am good. I have taken some BJJ classes though. I've taken some like Muay Thai classes, kickboxing, you know, just so I kind of know what I'm doing and how I'm like covering stuff. And the BJJ, I'm not good at that. The takedowns, I just feel like I'm just like hugging on the floor when I'm rolling. I'm not good at that one. Kickboxing, not bad, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You can throw it. You can throw them pretty high.
I
Kickboxing.
I got long legs, big feet. So I got some power in my kicks. Like I said, I got my reach. I kickboxing, not too shabby, but
Yeah.
just
For someone who doesn't want to fight, you're sounding you're sounding like you might want one.
here's the thing, like I want to know how to fight. I just
Yeah.
don't want to fight someone who could potentially fight me back. I'd be a great bully.
We don't condone bullies, but you would be good because I get what you're saying. That's what bullies want, right? They want to beat someone up that won't beat them up. You know, they can't hurt them or in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Even still, like I do not have, and like I say this with all the respect in the world, I do not have a fighter mentality. Like that's what I'm so fascinated by with these athletes, because if I'm going to get in the cage with someone and I'm going to pummel them in the face, ground and pound until they are bloody and unconscious, I need to hate that person. Like they have had to have like done me dirty. I need something that I'm thinking about in my mind that's like, yeah, you deserve this. But when like I saw these two guys chatting it up in the lobby the night before, and then they're beating the crap out of each other. And then afterwards, the guy comes back to consciousness and they're shaking hands, hugging it out like, great fight, dude. I'm like, what?
Different kind of animals, man. Hey.
Wild.
Wow. Did you have anything to do? Have you done any interviews with Joseph Parker at all?
I did. I actually interviewed Joseph Parker in Saudi Arabia, another really nice, great guy. Right before he beat Deontay Wilder. That was actually my first time. No, that was my second time interviewing him. I did like a quick little interview with him before the I think it was the Errol Spence Terrence Crawford fight last summer. Okay. He was there and it was like a red carpet thing, and he was walking by and I knew I had like 2 seconds with him. So I think I was like, oh, he thinks gonna win tonight. But I remember being like, oh, that's the one guy I haven't had the opportunity to talk to. And when he came to Champs vs. Champs, he totally avoided the red carpet. Like he just like walked around and I was like, no, you on the red carpet. He's like, me. I'm like, yes, like you.
Me from a world champion boxer.
You were red carpet worthy, sir. So I took the opportunity I had, because I mean he was just kind of there as a fan. Well, he was there supporting Kelsey DeSantis, I believe, who fought Clarissa Shields. So I took the opportunity. I'm like, I'm gonna have my 5 minutes with you, and I got to finally talk to him, and it's like another cool, like, you know, bucket list interview for me, getting to speak to him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of bucket list interviews, do you got any off the top of your head? Like, is there a few that you'd like to sit there, have a chat with them one day?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like there are big names, obviously, that you want to talk to, but then it's like, but what do I really talk to them about, right? So like, like what are they going to tell me that hasn't been said a million times? But then there's also people who like maybe not be super big names, but I just think that they would just be a really interesting conversation. Well, big name wise, like
any name, whoever.
Yeah, like I've never had a formal one-on-one interview with Tyson Fury. Like I've asked him questions before, and like, you know, in scrums and you know, during fight week, but like he's the one person I've always wanted to have a sit down with, because he's wild. Like everything the man says is just absolutely absurd. And I need that. Like I needs it. And like if there's anything I've learned, like I've interviewed Jorge Masvidal, I've interviewed Colby Covington, like talking about people, not that they're the same caliber as Tyson Fury, but as far as like not being filtered and like saying some pretty wild things, I've realized that I actually really enjoy being in interviews where I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
They're kind of fun. So definitely want Tyson Fury. But like, I don't know.
Got two more. They didn't have to be big names, just to you. They mean a lot to you when it comes to you wanting to interview them. Whoever. Tyson Fury is one. Can we get two more?
I've always wanted to interview Dan Marino. Because
true.
I just feel like being a quarterback in, the 90s in Miami was a wild time off the football field. And he's a wild man. So I
He's
definitely,
a wild boy.
yeah, he's been like top bucket list forever, like as a kid, someone I just dreamed about talking to. And then, so this isn't necessarily like a one-on-one interview, but one thing that I really want to do is have Clarissa Shields and Alicia Baumgartner in a room together and interview both of them at the same time.
In the middle of them both?
Oh, in the middle of them. Yeah, talk about being in like the scariest place ever. I cannot break with that fight. I'm just gonna let them go at it.
I thought you were gonna be like Dana and just
I mean, like, I'll talk here and there, but like I have just been and I know I've had the opportunity to talk to Clarissa Shields, otherwise she would have been the first name I said. But the one thing I do, like, I mean, I love a lot of things about her, but like she does not give a shit about like what anybody thinks about her. And I really do appreciate that. Like, she will say what she feels, what she means. She has no hesitation in defending herself or calling out other people. And I've always really liked Alicia Baumgartner too. And I felt like she's always been very like calculated in the things that she is said in a good way. Like she's always presented herself well, but the feud that they have going on is, I don't know if you've been following it all. It's just so fascinating to me. Like, for two people who like are not in the same weight class, it would like take a lot to make that fight happen. You would think they were selling like a pay-per-view main event.
I don't think they give a damn too about the weight classes in real life. They just want let's get it.
Yeah.
Like, if they had a chance.
Yeah, like I really, I mean, and that's actually like not even that ridiculous of an ask. So maybe that shouldn't be on like my fantasy bucket list. But lately, that's something that I really want to happen.
To you right now. This is what you want. So
yeah,
hey, I like that little bucket list you got there. Dan Marino, Tyson Fury, and right in the middle of those girls.
Yeah, I'm sure if like I had the chance to really think about it, I would come up with something more creative and better. But I've been very fortunate that I've got to interview like some really cool athletes and really great people. Now, there's interviews I would like to do again. Like,
okay, give us one of those. Maybe two.
I interviewed in oh my gosh, when was it? The Atlanta Super Bowl. So that was 2019, I believe.
Yeah,
a
while ago.
2019. I interviewed Travis Kelce. He's a little bit bigger of a deal now.
Just a tad.
Yeah.
Just a tad.
I'd want to redo that interview.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
So if you had the chance, you would swiftly interview him again.
I would, yes. I would. I was trying to do a Taylor Swift pun, and then it's a new era to interview Travis Kelce, and I would.
Yeah, it is. 100%. Well, and then who would the other one be? Two. One more.
So I would actually. I've interviewed Deontay Wilder twice, like long form interviews, and he was great. The man loves to talk. But when I interviewed him, it was before the second Tyson Fury fight. And it was, when else did I get him? I got him twice. I can't even remember when, but one of them was like very much about Anthony Joshua for the fight that never happened and probably never will now. And one was about Tyson Fury, and just like the heavyweight division just being an absolute absurd mess that hopefully gets resolved this Saturday with Usyk and Fury. But high hopes. But I feel like now that I've been in the space long enough to realize that like I don't necessarily need to worry so much about asking the X's and O's, especially for these athletes that are coming towards the end of their career. Like Deontay Wilder has gone through so much physically in his past couple of fights. Like I really want to have a conversation with him now about like what he's learned, his mental health, like the challenges
Mm.
that he has faced as someone who is at the top. Like Deontay Wilder was the most feared name at one point in the heavyweight division because of the power that he had. Like, you know, he might not have the technique, he might not have the endurance of some of these other fighters, but if you get hit, like you're going down. And he just had this like on top of the world syndrome. And we saw that there's weakness to he's a one trick pony. And it's sad to kind of like see him fall from grace. I'm very happy for Joseph Parker, but like
Captain Joseph Parker, let's go, Uzo.
very happy for him. But you know, it's just one of those things where like I think the whole world wanted, if you're a boxing fan, you wanted to see Anthony Joshua fight Deontay Wilder. Now that fight not happening is really not their
Not
fault.
if you're from New Zealand, cuz.
Fair. Over here in America, that's what we want to see. But yeah, Tyson Fury kind of ruined all that. But well, actually, Andy Ruiz ruined all that. I take that back. It's all actually, let's go back and forth there. It's Jarrell Miller's fault for testing positive for PEDs that Anthony Joshua had to fight Andy Ruiz last minute. Yeah, okay, I digress.
Because he wouldn't have beat him.
Yeah. So like I would really, I don't have that relationship with Deontay Wilder to have that type of like intimate conversation about mental health. But if I did, he's someone I would desperately want to talk to about it. Cause I just think he's just a really interesting case study. And now, you know, depending on what happens with this next fight, like that could be the last time we see him in a ring. So I feel like now would be like such a really cool time to have that conversation, but you have to be like a special kind of journalist reporter, have a special kind of relationship to have those open conversations. But that would be a really, really cool one to have.
Yeah, well, I like your wife for that. That's pretty cool. I mean, the other one was pretty cool too. Travis Kelsey on just but your wife for the Deontay Wilder, just the whole, I guess in a way, just checking in one just to see if he is okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then two, just like how have you pulled yourself back together if you are, you know what I mean? Yeah, that would be cool. Hey, who knows? Manifestation. Let's go. Let's
I know.
see if it can happen, man. Deontay, I know you're watching this for sure.
I mean, what else does he have to do, right? Of course.
Yeah, brother. Yeah. Sit down with Karisa again. Or if you could even call her Clarissa if you want. It's all good.
I don't care. You call me whatever you want. I don't care. You know what you're
doing. Speaking of Karissa, what music did you grow up? Did you grow up listening to any music, or were you just sports only? No music?
Oh no, I'm actually like a bigger music fan. Well, I definitely was a bigger music fan than sports. I grew up listening. I mean, my dad obviously listened to like classic rock. So I grew up listening to AC/DC and Styx and 38 Special and Led Zeppelin. And I definitely geared more towards like the harder rock. So, harder rock or like more like just eccentric 80s music, if you will. Like, for example, my dog's names are Bowie and Zeppelin. But like I'm kind of like a closet metalhead, like industrial metal. My favorite band of all time, obsessed, 9 Inch Nails. Like, I'm a huge Trent Reznor fangirl. I've seen them 4 times. I would love to see them 20 more. So like I love 9 Inch Nails. I listen to like Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson and Rammstein and Combi Christ and System of a Down and just like the really angsty stuff that had my parents concerned when I was in high school.
It might have had them asking for an interview about your mental health.
It was looking back, it was a little concerning, but I also really enjoy. I enjoy a good pop song here and there, but I was a hip hop dancer growing up. So I also, love old school hip hop. Some of the newer stuff.
Like old school, like who? Like
Well, so like
give me.
old school, my old school is a little
Okay.
different than a lot of people's old school, but like I loved TLC growing up. Like I was like a huge Lisa Left Eye Lopez fan. I remember like I stayed home from school the day of her funeral because I was just so devastated.
Yeah.
But like I listened to Jay-Z and Biggie and a little bit Tupac, but like, nowadays I there's not really a lot of good rap music now, if I'm being perfectly honest, but
There's a lot
I
of
oh, yeah, it's a little too, like, poppy for
Well,
me,
I
but
think it is pop now, to be
yeah,
honest. Like that is pop music, right? Like in a lot of ways now, it's pop music just mean popular, right? And back in the days, I think
yeah,
a lot of the hip hop today, which I'll be like, is that hip hop? I guess it is. Just
yeah. Well, and it's funny too, because like, I also loved, like, I loved Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park, and
oh,
so
oh,
I, like, started off in, like, the rock and, like, the hardcore, like,
mhm.
angsty music, which then integrated rap into it, in the
Yeah,
90s,
yeah,
early 2000s, and then, like, I found myself then I'm like, "Oh," the Encore album comes out, I'm like, "Who's this Jay-Z fellow? Let me listen to him," and now I'm, listening to
yeah,
Jay-Z and, like, yeah, so I there's I like that kinda, like, rap music, where it was, like, all about the poetry and the beat, and I'm
yeah,
very into the whole Kendrick Lamar Drake beef right now. That is
yeah.
like
Who's
it
winning, in your opinion?
Kendrick for sure, for sure. R.I.P. Drake. It's not good.
Oh, R.I.P. Drake. Yeah, the Drake interview's gone.
No, I don't even know if I could like ever look at him the same way again. I like kind of feel bad for him a little bit.
Do
Yeah,
you?
no, it's Kendrick for sure. But even before that, like I always loved Drake. I always loved Kendrick. Um, So yeah, I'm honestly, but then at the same time, you put on my playlist and it's probably going to be like a Broadway show tune that pops up. I'm all over the place.
Oh,
I
wow.
really do
Broadway
genuinely.
shows.
I love
What do?
reggaeton.
Oh, reggaeton.
Everything. I just not country. That's like my hard pass.
Hard
Country,
no, eh? Hard no for
hard
country.
pass. Yeah.
Oh man, you was gonna have a lot of them country fans too after this, but now,
Which
yeah,
is, but honestly, all the people that listen to country music in fans and even the athletes, I mean, so
yeah.
many fighters listen to country music, believe it or not. But that's probably one of the reasons why I'm also not a fan because I'm like, I am so sick of hearing this dang song. But
Oh,
I
what
don't
song?
know.
What song have you been hearing a lot?
Um, well, I mean, right now, which is not a terrible song. It's super freaking catchy, which I kind of hate how catchy it is. But it's the Shabuzi song. That's like, I don't even know, something about whiskey being at the bar but
Oh, you a
it's like,
whiskey fan or no?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, not Jack Daniels though. No,
nah.
gross. No,
Oh,
yeah, no. I like Irish whiskey more. Like
oh,
I like Jameson, but I really like bourbon.
oh, fuck the Jameson brothers.
That was a really good Conor McGregor impression.
What was this one called? Proper 12? Was it like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Proper 12. What's the? Do you know what the background is? Obviously, I'm an American, but like, do you know whether your roots lie beyond America? Like,
Yeah, I've taken a DNA test,
oh,
because
okay.
what else we're gonna do during COVID lockdown? I am mostly like European, Irish, Scottish, German, French, English.
That's a
I
lot. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like a mutt of the Western Europe. I have I found out I have a little bit of Spanish in me, which was exciting.
Oh,
It,
is
it-
that your husband or?
no, no, no,
Oh,
no. Actually,
sorry.
funny thing,
So,
you
shout out
it's
to the
just
brother,
funny
man.
though,
Much
like
love.
mine, I pretty much expected it to come back like, you're a bunch of European things.
Yeah.
He was like, last name is McKee, so he's Irish, and
Yeah,
his
100%.
grandmother
Yeah.
was like fresh off the boat from Italy, so he was like Irish Italian, hardcore, gonna make the sauce and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We do the DNA test, 0% Irish, 0% Italian. He's Persian and Spanish.
Wow.
So
Wow. They
That was,
lied.
it was a little bit of a culture shock for him. He's like in actual denial over it. So I make fun of him every time.
Maybe they need to do a new test. Let
Yeah,
me
I'm
just
like,
check that again.
somebody's lying. Well, I mean, with that stuff, it's like, people move around and everything, which we get. But it was just funny because he was like, I know what I am. He wasn't that at all. But yeah, no, I'm a bunch of different things.
Yeah, cool. They all make up the great Karisa Maxwell.
Yeah.
And Mickey. Yeah, I love it. You spoke on media scrums just before. How does that work? Like, how did you, have you got an interesting story for us about, or even
Yeah.
maybe teach people how to maneuver those?
Okay. Well, that I can definitely talk about. First of all, I hate media scrums. They're like
Okay, good
my
start.
least favorite part of the job, but it's a necessary evil, right? Like you got to fight for this time. But especially like in my case, in combat sports, there's not a lot of women. I mean, like there's like 5. We all know each other's name. And so when I be going to, I've covered a lot of Canelo fights. Go to Canelo fights, you're not only fighting with American media and, world media, but all the Mexican media outlets are there. And everybody is just like, there's so many people and they're all fighting to get the microphone in and ask the same question. So that's like really what I don't enjoy about them is you don't want to ask a good question because you don't want someone to take your answer and get it out before you can, but then someone will ask the question, then you didn't ask. It's like a mind game. But what I have learned to do, which my feet hate me for after fight week, but when I was covering fight week and had to deal with media scrums, which I fortunately do not have to do anymore, I wore heels all day, every day. I wore heels because not only did it make me significantly taller than all of the men who were
and you're already 5'9".
Yeah, I'm already 5'9", and I'd wear like 3-4 inch heels. So I would just be towering over all of these men with my microphone, just getting right in there. But then also, if they were being a little too aggressive and I accidentally just shifted my heel and stepped on their toes, oh no, I'm so sorry. Don't do that.
There you go, ladies. There you go, ladies, or maybe even men, whoever.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's that was always like my little trick. Now everybody knows it, so it's not secret. But I think, like in general, I use the media scrums as an opportunity to like show face with athletes. Like I wasn't necessarily so concerned about asking a question as I was like, okay, I just want to make sure they see me. They see I'm trying to ask a question, like making eye contact with them and just trying to establish like, hello, I'm here. Remember my face. So that way, when I do run into them in an opportunity where there's maybe not as much media around, like if it is like a closed media event or just like in the casino lobby or something, they're always gonna be more inclined to be like, oh, we saw you struggling. What is it that you wanted to ask? So I kind of play like the victim card a little bit, like I didn't get to ask my question because they were being mean to me, pushing me around. And it's
I like it.
So yeah.
Hey, before we get out of here, I just wanted to ask a couple more questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
If you could only have one meal for the rest of your life, which one do you choose? Only one meal.
Only one meal
for the rest of your life. Every day.
Every day. Okay. This is going to be the most like basic millennial white girl thing to say ever, but probably Chipotle.
Chipotle? What are you ordering?
Salad rice bowl with either carne asada or chicken, fajitas, guacamole. I don't care if it's extra. And hot and pico salsa. And maybe verde too, like if I want to like switch it up a little bit. And fresh cheese with the vinaigrette dressing.
Is this one meal or are we having like a whole feast?
Well, it is like a whole feast. Like I'll get it, and then it's like my lunch and my dinner, and like.
Oh, hey, I'll give you that one because I don't know what the hell you said.
Oh yeah, it's a flavor bomb. It's just so good. So I probably have to say Chipotle. That's always like my go-to.
No, yeah, the Chipotle. Hit her with that sponsorship. Come on,
yeah.
Hey.
Sign me up.
Sign her up. She can punch people in the face.
Just can't get punched, but
yeah. She don't ever get punched. Superpower. If you could choose one, which one would you choose and why? Maybe even create one.
Oh my God. Well, like right now, I wish I could what is it, like teletransport, because
Teletransport, is this a whole another thing, or
like
we can teleport?
what do you call it when you like
Teleport?
teleport? Yeah, but in
Ah.
my mind, it'd be for purely transportation purposes because I spend so much time on a plane and in an airport that I just kind of want to
Oh yeah, yeah, dude, sick of this. I'm sick
just
of this.
pop to where I need to be.
Yeah.
Use it as a chance to go see my friends that I don't get to see who are all around the country. That'd be great. Um, or I would probably want to be invisible.
Why?
I just like, there's how many situations are there where you're like, oh, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that conversation. Like, I'm not going to wish to be a fly, but if I'm invisible, I can, be in the room.
Oh, I see what you're doing there. I see. Your little
It's
fly
just
on the
like,
wall.
sneaky, I don't
Yeah.
know. Or sometimes
And,
it's just
if
not
you're
just
gonna be invisible, like just to listen to a conversation between two human beings, not including anybody you've spoken about tonight, who would you
between
use
two
to?
human beings. Oh God.
Yeah.
Um, well, I mean, I'd probably go sneak into my boss's office and hear what he's saying about me. That'd probably be one of them.
Because
uh,
we love you, boss. We love you. That's right.
am I doing a good job?
Yeah, 100.
Oh my God, no, I would like easily, it would, sneak into the White House or like some like powerful place and just like hear what
Ooh.
actually goes on
Yeah,
behind.
because we don't really know. They'd be just telling us rubbish.
Yeah, they tell us what it's like a need to know basis, but like I want to know
Yeah.
what actually goes down. I want to know how the sausage is really made.
Yeah, I like it. Give me visualization. 10 years from now, what's life like for Clarissa Maxwell McKee?
I think about this all the time because it's like really it's so hard just because the way the communication landscape is changing. Like if you asked me 10 years ago if I'd be here, I wouldn't even know it was a possibility, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're getting
there's
too deep now. Just off
no,
the
I
just
know, but it's hard. I mean, yeah, I'm about to dig deeper because it's
okay,
like
okay, let's go. Let's go.
because like like I said, I just got married.
Mhm.
It's like, do we want kids? Well, if we have kids, how do we have kids with what I'm doing? I'm traveling so much. I'm not really here. It's really like,
Angelina Jolie, maybe?
yeah, well, I'm not making Angelina
Cambodia?
Jolie money.
No,
Can't bring my
not yet.
nannies with me
Come on,
everywhere.
Chipotle. Come on,
Yeah,
Chipotle.
probably
Sort the
better
stuff
pay
out.
up.
Yeah,
I
100%.
don't. How much do you think PFL pays me, man? Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I really don't know. Because I don't know what's possible and I don't know where I'm gonna be at in life. But ideally, like I would love to be in a position, and maybe this isn't necessarily like a career question, but I would love to be in a position 10 years from now where I'm able to do whether it's like be on a board or be an ambassador for like a very large charity or philanthropic endeavor. Like I really want to give back in some way and use
Beautiful.
my voice and whatever little platform I have to help people and advocate for something. I feel like right now I don't have the time to really dedicate to doing something the way like it deserves. Obviously, like I still donate and I help out where I can, but finding that balance 10 years from now where I can actually prioritize, making a difference is something that's always been very important to me. So I'm hoping I can achieve that in the next decade.
What space would you like to be philanthropic towards, though? Because there's so many causes. There's so many. In what way would you like to make a difference, or in what
Yeah, so
space?
I mean, I was on the board of directors for the New York City Hope Gala, which benefits childhood cancer research and funding. So I've always been very passionate about that. That will never change. It's also
Mm.
a Penn State thing. We have Thon. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's the largest student-run philanthropy in the world that raises money for Four Diamonds Fund at Penn State Hershey Children's Hospital. So I've always been very into that. But I think now, like, I'll still always be into that. But I definitely want to. There's just so many injustices in the world and so many things that prevent people from just like living a life that honestly that they deserve. That is like promised to us just as human beings. So
Well, should be.
should be, right? So like, one of the things that currently I've been very into is like women's health. And the making sure that kids have food to eat, or that there's clean drinking water, or equitable opportunities for, like, one of the things I think is really cool, and I guess working in sports is kind of leads like a natural segue to it, kind of like what I was just talking about. Like, there's so many female athletes now with women's sports getting more recognition that it deserves, that they're now having to choose like their career or families, or like figuring out how to do it all, how to do both, because it's becoming harder and harder. And one of the big initiatives that a lot of sports leagues or sports teams are doing now is they're offering the opportunity for women to have their eggs frozen who are on the team, so that way you can continue your career, and then when you're ready, you still have the opportunity to have a family. And that is awesome for these female athletes. But it's really not an option for, like, everyday women. And I'm not saying everybody goes and gets their eggs frozen, but just like trying to figure out ways that women don't feel like they have to choose, like they have to give up their dreams, they have to give up their careers in order to have a family, or that they have to sacrifice their family, being a good wife, being a good mother, to pursue their own dreams. So it's something that I'm struggling with, and I know a lot of women struggle with. So like, if there's a way that we can find out how we can just help, create better family lives with childcare, just ways that women can do it all, because I think we are super women. If I'm, going to be a little self-serving for a second, like, we have superpowers. So that's recently like where a lot of my passions lie, is just giving equal opportunities, giving a chance for women to have it all, and for kids not to sacrifice because of it.
Hey, beautiful. I like it. I got one last one for you. What's one piece of advice you'd give to anybody that wants to become the next Karisa Maxwell, or become themselves, but in a sort of carve a path similar to yours?
Yeah. So my favorite piece of advice, and something that I've done myself, in simplest terms, become a Swiss Army knife. Like, I've never wanted to be in an opportunity at any position I've ever been in for someone to ask me to do something and me say, no, I can't, I don't know how. I've taken every challenge that's come to me to learn how to do something. Even if I don't do it great, at least I tried. And that's really benefited me. And it's worked for people that I've talked to about it too, because you're constantly learning, growing, and challenging yourself, and you're making yourself an asset to any company. And if you continue to just have this Swiss Army knife mentality that you can do it all, it doesn't mean you should do it all, but you have so many more opportunities to grow into the role that you want, to carve your own path, because even if you can't do something, you can figure out how to do it. So not pigeonholing yourself and siloing yourself that I am only this one thing. Just like, learn as much as you can, never stop growing, changing, learning. And also get a dog. It's really going to help with your mental health. That's my other.
That though.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Yeah,
what are their names?
That's Zeppelin. And then
Zeppelin?
Yes, like Led Zeppelin.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But Nipplin or Zeppelin?
Zeppelin with a Z. Okay. Yeah. And then my other dog, I don't know where he is, but he's super cute. His name is Bowie. He's around here somewhere.
David Bowie? No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My little rock stars. Yeah.
Yeah, the rock stars. Well, I just want to say, Sister Clarissa Maxwell, Mickey, it's been a pleasure. Time's the most valuable commodity we have as human beings. The one thing we can never get back. We can always get back things. We can always get back money. But time spent is time lost. So thank you and your dogs for sharing this time that you could have spent with hubby or doing other things other than talking a little podcast from the other side of the world. But I thank you, and I'm appreciative. And hopefully it's not the last time we sit down, not only on here, but maybe even in the flesh. I could get a whiskey with your husband and yourself in one time when I'm in the States again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. You're right. Time is a commodity, but great conversations are worth it. So I appreciate you having me on, and thank you so much. And yeah, we'll talk again for sure.
100%, sister. Big love.
Thank you so much for watching this full episode of Mind the Mic. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to create these episodes. So to know that you've watched and listened to the entire thing means the world to myself and all our hosts. If you could, before you leave, please hit the subscribe button and share this episode out to as many people as possible. It would help us so much. Thank you again to everybody that's still here, still watching. Thank you for all your comments, all your shares, all the DMs. Appreciate you all. Make sure you follow us on every platform. Have an awesome morning. Have an awesome night, depending on where you are in the world. Mind the mic out.
Oi, have you hit the link in bio yet?
Watch full episodes on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all streaming platforms.